Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this new edition of our Football Focus show, in which we analyze football from multiple perspectives, from an unbiased perspective. Uh, Breaking news this morning: Manchester United let go of their manager. Manchester United sack manager Amorim after 14 months in service. Amorim has been in service following his arrival for 14 months at Manchester United. The club during his reign have seen a couple of flashes of success, but at the same time they have been stalled with regards to their progress. His sacking doesn't come down to performance on the pitch. His sacking came down to his rant over the weekend against his bosses. This is football business. When you talk to your bosses, you have to talk with a lot of care. When Jim said he was going to give him 3 years, I think he thought that the 3 years was going to be a license for him to become the boss. No, that was a license for him to show that that he can perform at a higher level and be able to continue his mandate beyond 3 years and take the club maybe for 10, 15 years. But then he thought giving him license to be there for 3 years mandated him to be able to say things that he doesn't have to say against his bosses. So over the weekend, he had this rant against his bosses where he was insinuating that they have not given him the necessary, they are not willing to go into the January transfer window to let him have the kind of players that he will need to get the club to turn a page. But the club sitting right now at the sixth position on the table. They are not doing badly, but by every stretch of imagination, without playing the Europa Cup, without playing the Champions League, we thought the club was supposed to be fighting for the first three positions at this stage of the competition. The first round is over. Manchester United are languishing sixth on the table, which is not what I think the managers or the owners of the club they thought that's where we were supposed to be, especially after splashing over 200 million over the summer to bring in Sesko, Kuna, and Buemo. However, the club's problem have not been the attack. The problem have been in the middle of the pack, where he tried to get Baleba to come in, and that was unsuccessful. Unsuccessful pursuit of Baleba did not boil down to the bosses. It boiled down to what the club, Brighton, wanted. Brighton did not even give them a price to begin with. They were not willing to let their midfield guru go. So they did everything possible to keep him. But then this is January transfer window when Amorim thought that worst case scenario at this point or at this level he should have at least a midfielder who can help to mitigate the number of goals that we get that are coming through that is coming in as a result of the weakness in the middle of the pack. But then they talked about O'Connor, they talk about Anderson, they talk about Baleba, but I think there have been no movement and no progress in that department. That is why over the weekend, before the game against Leeds, the manager came out and he was ranting. He was firing on all cylinders. He even claimed that he was not the manager, that he doesn't want to be the coach. He wants to be the manager. So those things, the upper management did not find it funny. They did not take it kindly, and that led to his dismissal. So if we were to look at Amorim's stay at the Premier League, last year the club ended 17 on the league. They went to the Europa League finals. Unfortunately, they lost to Tottenham, and then that brought us to this season where we have no European football. And as a Manchester United fan, it has been frustrating to watch other clubs play over the weekends. But then this boiled down again. Why is it that Manchester find themselves where they are today? String of bad results? No. Unfortunate circumstances? No. Coaching? Yes. Coaching? Yes. Apparently, the 3-4-2-1 system that Amorim wanted to implement at Manchester United was definitely not the best system for the kind of players that he have at his disposal. The players that we have at our disposal are good players for a 4-3-3 formation, a 4-4-2 formation, or a 4-3-2-1 formation. With all of this in mind, Amorim decided that because he was so successful with his 3-4-3 system with his former club, he was going to implement that at the club over here. That did not work. That did not work. You have to put a round peg in a round hole. When you get a round peg in a square hole, it will never fit. It will never fit. So it was never going to fit. He was destined to fail with being adamant to making changes. Again, of recent, he made a change in the game against Newcastle, where he played the 4-3-3 formation, and Manchester United played well. Did we have a lot of possession? No. But did we win the game? Yes. What is more important with the APL? A win. A win is a win. No matter how you get the win, you get the win. Amorim is no longer the coach of Manchester United. I like Amorim as a person. He's a good communicator. He talks very well to the people, to fans. He talks to the journalists. He answers his questions in a very honest manner. He's an epitome of what he really said he wanted to be, a manager. Maybe being a manager could have given him more leeway with regards to decisions on the kind of players that he has to bring to the club. He did not have that, and that led to a lot of frustration from the young guy. And then this frustration have led to his dismissal. I don't think that they're letting Amorim go because of his results on the pitch. Manchester United are letting Amorim go because of his rants over the weekend against his bosses. Whoever is watching, realize that your boss is your boss. He can be your friend, but there comes a time when you have to pull that plug as your boss, and I think that's exactly what happened here. Amorim have not been a bad manager. He have been the person. He have had his up and downs, but then he was guiding the club towards the right direction. So who will come in now to fill the shoes? Personally, I think Fletcher, who is the coach for U18, who have been doing a wonderful job, should come in and help in that perspective as an interim manager. If they were to bring in Fletcher, we all watched two of his sons against Manchester came up the other day. One of his sons played for England U20. The other son plays for Scotland U20. So this guy, who is a former legend of the club, I think he's a guy that can guide the club during these difficult periods. While now the club can go out and extensively search for players for coaches that have the Manchester United DNA. When I say Manchester United DNA, I mean coaches that have been players of this club who understand what it is on a daily basis to walk through the Old Trafford and get that song and bring that glory, glory, glory days back. So my suggestion or my guess will be the club should go back to the drawing board. We have Michael Carrick out there, who have been an assistant for the club, and he did a good job while he was interim. And we also have Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think if you were to bring a combination of Ruud van Nistelrooy, Michael Carrick, and Fletcher to this team, then you'll be bringing a DNA that have lasted years as players, managers around the club, with a lot of Ferguson mentality that will build this club to a different stage. So now what happens to those players that are on loan, that we gave on loan because they could not fit into the 3-4-3 formation? They have to come back. If I'm a new manager, I have to bring all of those all the players who are on loan, to give them an opportunity again to see exactly how they can perform or what they can bring on the table. Definitely, one person who is for sure the happiest at this present moment is Rashford. I think the kid will come back to Manchester United, most probably this transfer window, if we were to recall him from his loan spell, given the presence of a new manager. But if not, he's going to definitely be here at Old Trafford again next year. So we'll get to watch our academy product come back to us and see whether he can make the difference or be given an opportunity to replicate what he has been doing for Barcelona. He has been performing very well for Barcelona. Rasmus, on the other side, he's in Napoli. He thinks that ideally he will want to stay with Napoli. But I think with the new management, if they were to give him a reason to come back, he will come back. I don't think an attack line boasting Rasmus, Zirkzee, assuming that we don't let him go to Roma, Rasmus, Zirkzee, and we have Sesko up front. That would be a formidable attack line to begin with. We do not have to go shop for players that we already have. We already have these players resting at Manchester United or out there on loan. We let Garnacho go because he did not fit the system. But guess what? He's doing well at Chelsea. Chelsea let Maresca go over the weekend. Manchester United let Amorim go this week. So it's beginning to be that time of the year where managers have to be careful. I think Frank with Tottenham is the next manager who will have to be careful with what he does with his club. If not, he'll also have to be kicked out of the club. So again, guys, Manchester United let go manager Amorim, and hopefully it becomes the beginning of a new journey for us. It becomes the beginning with an era where we turn the leaf. Definitely, I'm positive the system of play is going to change from with 4 defense and 3 midfielders, 3 attackers, or whatever they do up front. But I'm definitely positive that we're going to have four defenders. That is exactly what Manchester United have been accustomed to, and that will bring us glory. Amorim is not a bad manager. It was just bad circumstances, or he was just not the right guy for the occasion. I think he was the right guy for the occasion, but then he just did not bring in the system of play that was supposed to help him to accomplish what we brought him into play to accomplish. He did not use the proper system with the based on the talent that he have, and he said it himself. He needed a lot of money to be able to build a kind of squad that would allow him to replicate the kind of success that he had with his former club. And definitely, we did not open our checkbooks for him. That made him frustrated, and because of the frustration, he said what he said, and it is what it is. Amorim is gone. Hello, guys. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I hope to see you again shortly. Thank you.